Hello and welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. My name is Don Pelto and I have Mr. Stormy Andrews here with me. Welcome, Stormy.
Thanks, Don. I'm glad to be here with you.
Yeah, nice. That looks like a really big microphone, by the way. I know it's probably the camera that makes it look big, though.
It's a cover that helps with the noise in the room, but it is pretty big.
Well, thanks for your time. We're going to be talking a little bit about how, as podiatrists, we can outsell, outgrow our competition. And you have this process called the world's best buyer persona system. So tell me a little bit how this happened. Tell me a little bit about the background.
Sure. So, I own a digital marketing agency. We've been around for since 2010. And prior to that, I was in the world of training salespeople how to sell better. So the first book that I was invited to participate in was a book on effective communication techniques to allow salespeople to perform better. Well, that was in the day before the world of the internet. And when people started popping up websites and businesses using websites, they thought it was going to be this miraculous secret weapon to allow them to get more customers. And the problem historically, and still today with many websites, is that they're not effective communicators. When businesses and organizations treat their website as a billboard, well, it gets the result that a billboard gets, which a lot of eyes have to come across it in order for it to convert. Well, what if we could take some of the best principles when you're training salespeople, better effective communication techniques, and what if you could apply that to a website or your digital assets? Well, I thought that if we could turn these websites into digital employees, train them as you would any other employee, and have expectations of that employee, well, then that employee is going to yield you a better result. And that was the precipice for the world's best buyer persona system. It's a system and a process to understand the emotions and the pain points of your customers to a greater degree, so you can create messaging designed to connect with them on an emotional level, which helps them convert, and it helps you outsmart your competition, mainly because they're not doing it.
Now, why aren't most people doing it? Is it website companies don't know how to do it? They're not marketers by heart. They billboard. They want to tell about everything they do in terms of foot care.
Yeah, so website companies, many of them are just phenomenal programmers. They know how to develop a website. But let's say when it comes to your practice, they don't know much about podiatry, and they may know something, but they don't know you. There usually isn't a process where there's that transfer of knowledge, where they even know the right questions to ask you in regards to the pain points and the issues and the concerns that your customer have. And if they don't do it, and if you don't volunteer it, well, then what happens is we end up with a website with lots of facts and figures, lots of information, but something that isn't really designed to connect on an emotional level with who your ideal client is. So it's that transfer of knowledge. They can program and do what they need to do, but they still need to get into your brain, your mind, so they can effectively transfer your voice, your empathy to your ideal prospects.
So people that are listening, maybe it's your website. Give me a website that they can go see this being done. What's a Yoka Local? Is that the website that it's being done on, or are there other websites?
Well, we do it on our website. We do it on a host of websites, but here's the scenario there. When it's done properly, it's designed to resonate with your ideal audience. So it's a scenario of, and you can absolutely 100% go to yokalocal.com and check it out, because we're speaking to a very specific audience. One of our audience members is someone called Marketing Mary. Let me tell you about Marketing Mary. Marketing Mary works for an organization, and she's been elevated through the ranks of the company, and she's now in charge of marketing. She's intimidated with this world of digital marketing, but that's her role. She's looking for help. She doesn't know who to turn to. And she's tried lots of different companies and SEO tactics, and she just hasn't gotten the traction that she had hoped for. So our website is designed to speak specifically to the pain points of Marketing Mary. She's one of our personas. And if you head down different paths, if someone's not a Marketing Mary, we have other pages that are designed for Legal Larry. That would be a persona who's an attorney. And we have messaging that's designed specifically for that small law office looking to compete with these larger offices that have far superior and larger budgets. So it's understanding who the persona is, what their pain points are, and then speaking to their pain points, their issues, their concerns.
I think there's a couple of other terms that people use, which I like. What I loved about what you just said there, Stormy, was it's like a salesperson working 24/7 for you on your website. Is that first page? Are you wanting people to land at the persona pages, or is there like a first page, like a hub that then from there they can go to the persona pages? Is that kind of the way it is?
So what happens is generally when you have your homepage should speak to your general audience. Our general audience is the Marketing Mary. So our homepage does a better job of speaking to Marketing Mary. But when it comes to like Legal Larry or Business Owner Bob or some of our other personas, those particular pages are specifically optimized for those individuals, the pain points that they're asking Google to solve their problems, and then they are landing specifically on those pages.
On those. And so I'm going to kind of simplify it for our audience. So that would mean for you that listening, if one of your largest checks is Achilles tendonitis or plantar fasciitis, you're going to have the Tom with Achilles tendonitis and Mary with plantar fasciitis, and you're going to have individual pages talking to those pain points versus saying we do these 35 things really, really well, come see us. You're going to have an individual page talking, and then whatever, then from there, does it go to like free reports, drip sequences, and things like that? Or does it stay just as the page?
Quite possibly. You can absolutely add, let me back up for just a moment. But, when it comes to those personas, they may be in different stages of their journey. They may be in the awareness stage, they may be in the consideration stage, or they may be in the decision stage. So the page itself is great for someone in the decision stage. They found their research. They've done everything that they need to do. They're just looking for a doctor that's close by that they can trust to perform the procedure. But let's say if they're in the consideration stage and they come across your website, they come across that particular page, but they're not ready to make a decision. Maybe they're a few weeks out or a few months out, but they're considering the alternatives. Maybe they're also considering alternative treatments that do not require.
They want to learn how to do it themselves. Or
absolutely. So in the consideration stage, maybe you can be a resource for someone there at the consideration stage. Share with them the different options that are available to them, because my solution at Yoka Local isn't right for everyone. Your solution is right for someone, not for everyone. But if you can help them along the journey in the consideration stage, not having a sales pitch, but truly being an advocate to them and their pain points, well, now what happens is it develops more trust. They're more likely to trust you because of the resources, information that you're providing. That may require a drip sequence. That may require them to download a case study or a white paper or scenarios that they can find relatable experiences of other patients that have come through you that have had similar scenarios. And maybe you're able to put some sort of a case study or a white paper together that they can relate to. Or maybe someone's just in the awareness stage. They realize that they just have a pain point. They don't know what it is. They haven't even been to a doctor. It has not been diagnosed. They're just in the awareness stage, and someone said, this is what you may have. My Uncle Louie had this particular scenario. So they start researching and they come across your page. How do you help someone in the awareness stage? And you help them not by giving them facts and using lots of medical jargon, but speaking in their language. Creating a message that's designed to resonate with their emotions and helping them understand that you understand what they're going through. You understand their pain points, their issues and concerns. And more importantly than getting them into your office, you're here to help.
I think that's in being sincere about it, because ultimately, I think if any doctor, we just have to protect our time a little bit, but we're willing to help anyone that is a self-motivated patient. If you want to try things, you can probably avoid a visit by trying all these things first for your heel pain, for example, which is a really big thing that we deal with. Now, one of the things that I find that's a little bit challenging, I'll just confess here, I've heard about the avatar, which is just another, probably not the same thing, but it's another name for this. What I find challenging is I think we all get overwhelmed by this whole process and we want to do everything at once. Can you kind of dumb it down and give an example maybe of what a client has, maybe one that's done it themselves, and then kind of how you speed up the process by doing it for them with your system?
So one of the reasons that I publish this system, or I put it in book format, Audible format, even a video course, is because oftentimes small businesses, they can't afford to have me do it.
Yep.
And I wanted them to have the ability of doing it. If someone were to sit down, like the fastest route to go through this is the video course, because I'm walking you through the process. It's a recording of me walking another group through the process. And it doesn't take that long. Through the video course, it's a process that may take you 2 or 3 hours from start to finish. And now you have your first persona.
And you can do it for multiple personas. That's what I'm letting people know. The first
Yeah.
one would be heel pain, for example. Then you could do the same process for ingrown toenails, and right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Keep
You'll
going.
start with your most desirable and work your way down the list.
Perfect.
That's exactly what happens. And here's the beauty of that process. When you go through the process in its entirety, imagine this for just a second. You have an incredible amount of knowledge, more knowledge than any contractor or any marketer or anyone else within your practice, or contractors that are working for your practice. How do you do that transfer of knowledge? Well, this is the best system that I'm aware of, right? And it allows you to go through the process, transfer the knowledge in regards to the pain points, the issues, the concerns that your clients are having. And then you have this completed document that's produced in a story narrative. And the system helps you put it in a story narrative. So this way, others can understand what you're looking to portray. If it's a lot of facts and figures, it just doesn't work. Well, now you've created the story narrative of the first persona. Imagine what if you shared this story narrative of your persona with whoever's doing your social media marketing. You think they're going to get better social media posts? Absolutely. Because I can imagine what probably happened when you brought that person on board is you're like, okay, here's access to my social media accounts. Go for it. Have a great time, run with it, post some stuff, find some pictures. That's going to be great. A year later, you look back and you're wondering, like, why has nothing happened? This social media stuff isn't working. Yeah, sure. It isn't working. You haven't given the person that was posting even the proper tools to give it a chance to work. And then you hear these stories about people that they're getting leads and customers from their website, and you've always had this feeling that, man, why isn't mine performing better? Well, once again, it comes back to the messaging, because unless you're there building the website, and have a unique ability to do some coding, and at the same time think of the right messaging, and transfer your knowledge to the website, it just doesn't happen. You're relying on a third person that just doesn't have your knowledge and understanding of your patients. So when you build that first persona and you share that story narrative with the social media person and the website person and the radio station and whoever's building your billboard, it gives them a much greater understanding. So this way their team can give you the best that they have to give you.
Wow, that's great. So walk through a couple of the chapters in the book. Some of them, maybe the titles, or I'm sure the videos correspond with the book, and we can kind of go on and talk more about it, or whatever else you want to talk about, whatever you think.
No, absolutely. We can definitely dive in. So here are some of the questions that the book will work you through. Well, the book will help you complete the worksheets, the topics that you work through. First of all, the first thing you need to do is identify who you want to do business with. Who are your ideal clients? What types of patients do you want to serve? Once you've done that, well, then we start identifying their, maybe their trials and tribulations.
So those that are listening, Stormy, what we tend to say is, I want to treat anyone that has 2 feet. So I'm imploring you guys, pick one. Pick Achilles tendonitis or something, or plantar fasciitis. Pick one. Okay, go on.
Absolutely. And going back to that statement there, right? I get it. You want to
you don't exclude anyone, right?
Yeah, you don't exclude anyone. I get it. But when you create a message that's designed to resonate with everyone, it ends up connecting with no one. And that's a problem. And maybe you're already experiencing that, right? So you're absolutely correct, Don. We have to move away from everyone to pick a lane. And you can pick multiple lanes, but pick one lane at a time. And then when you pick that lane, it allows you to start identifying the trials and tribulations of that particular person. If you understand their trials and tribulations, just that one step helps you create superior messaging. And then it helps you identify their action belief versus their inaction belief. What do they believe, right, wrong, or indifferent? What do they believe the outcome will be if they take action and this works as planned? On the other hand, what's their belief system if they don't take action? Understanding and documenting that is key if you're going to create this digital messaging and help your website along the process. You also want to identify what are potential triggering events. This way you can refer back to similar triggering events. Why now? Why are they looking to go through this, these treatments now? Why not a year ago? Why not a year from now? Why now? Let's identify some of those triggering events. Then as we go from there, we want to identify what sets you apart from the other colleagues that are also servicing the same clients? Is your messaging a "so what, me too" statement? Meaning that if I come across your website and I come across your colleague's website, is the messaging still the same? I get it. You're both doctors. You both have degrees. You've both been doing this a really, really long time. But what sets you apart? What awards or designations or reviews, customers setting you apart? What gives you, how can you gain respect by showing your authority, and how can you gain trust in that same process? That's key. And that's a process where the book helps you identify some of your positioning factors. What sets you apart so you don't have these "so what, me too" statements, meaning that if I come across your website and 10 of your colleague websites, is just a flip of the coin. You don't want to be in that situation. Messaging is what helps with that. You also want to identify what noise are they seeing in the marketplace, meaning that as it pertains to their pain, as it pertains to their problem, they go start researching on Google. What else are they seeing? Are they seeing
What are the over the counter inserts at Dr. Scholl's, or are they finding stretching exercises or things like videos on YouTube, all these things, right?
Absolutely, and those are those are the elephants in the room. Oftentimes, you need to address those. Those may be right for someone, but if you've gone down that path and it hasn't worked for you, maybe what other noise are they going to see? And it's not just the noise that they're seeing. What noise are they hearing? Remember, they're going to speak to their friends and family. You're going to have a half glass full camp and a half glass empty camp. The half glass full camp says you need to go see a specialist now. The half glass empty camp says you don't want to go see a doctor. They're the worst things. Understanding that and being able to address those issues for certain procedures. And what are they doing about it? Are they even going to Google? I've had clients reach out to me wanting to do SEO and a lot of marketing, and we discovered that their particular persona doesn't even turn to digital when they're looking for a solution. So if you have that type of scenario, or let me back up, if you don't understand what they're turning to is or looking for a solution, how can you put your message in the right place? There's another process that we take you through, which is called the TINB process. And basically what that stands for is TINB, there is no B. How can you create messaging and deliverables that are so superior that in the eyes of your patients, not a few of your patients, but all of your patients, where there is no B.
They're not going to go anywhere else.
Absolutely. And I know you have, clients like that right now, but what if you were to able to increase that percentage by 10% or 20% or 30%? Those become your raving fans. They send you more referrals. They're the people on street corners singing you praises. So the book walks you through that. And then the process from there, once we've gone through that, identifying their pain points, their issues, their problems, their concerns, and how you can be a good solution, then we start walking you through the buyer's funnel from the awareness stage, help you identify what types of questions may this particular person be asking. And what type of solutions would they be looking for? Same thing with the consideration stage, also with the decision stage. And then we want to identify some common concerns that your clients may have. Typically on each of these personas, there's going to be the same 20 questions that are usually asked over and over again. We want to make sure that those questions are addressed. Video would be awesome, but if not video, at least having them addressed on the website with an FAQ session.
Now, Stormy, is this all going to be like, I get the technical term, is this going to be one page, like long form copy with maybe some interspersed videos and stuff in it? Or is it multiple pages attached to this one page on, let's say, Achilles tendonitis? Yeah. Is it all like, if they're really interested, they'll read the whole thing or watch the whole video, or is it multiple pieces?
Yeah, it all depends on where they're at in the buyer's journey. The decision stage person, that one page is all they need in many cases. We want to make sure it's comprehensive. But what happens when it comes to the awareness and consideration stage, they may typically require additional bits of information, which may be links that are linking them out to, because remember, when they're in the awareness stage and consideration stage, they're still doing research. The person in the decision stage, they're done with research. They're just ready to make a decision and move forward. So the person that's doing the research, what other resources can you have? So there may be links to other third-party resources. There may be downloads. There may be white papers. There may be email sequences that are put together. So this way you can stay in contact with the person, providing them help without the undue sales pressure.
I think this is great, because so many of us, we market to everything instead of one thing, and having that one target market or target patient in that persona is something we don't spend enough time. We know those patients. We have Ruth here that has this for 3 years, and they're not getting better, but there's a lot more of those out there. I think this is, how'd you, by the way, how did you come up? You said you were doing marketing and things like that. That's how you kind of came up with it. But then how do you help people specifically? Do you coach them through this? You have the video course, do you do individual coaching? Do you make websites, do all this other stuff too?
Yep. So what happens is, as a marketing agency, when organizations hire us as a marketing agency, before we bring them on board, we have to take them through this process. Otherwise, we feel that we're going to do a disservice. So that's one route that organizations engage with us. Other routes, some of them say, listen, we have a marketing team. We just want you to teach them this process so we can implement it within our organization. So we have basically a workshop. And then others, I can do it on my own, get the book, get the Audible, or go through the video course.
That's great. I think we covered a lot of great resources. If people want to learn more about this process, Stormy, what's the best place they can learn more, if they can see websites, things like that?
Here's what I'd recommend you go. I made it super easy for you because there's lots of different ways to find me, but I've created a URL called Outsmart Tools. And if you go to outsmarttools.com, let me tell you the first thing that you should do on that page. One, it has a link where you can buy the book on Amazon, you can buy the Audible, and it will have a link for the video course because what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a link in there where you can get it at a discounted rate. Okay. So if you wanted to do the video course. But what it also has, which is a great place to start, it has a success marketing wheel exercise. And this is also an area that organizations go wrong. You see, marketing is this big, overwhelming monstrosity. That's the way that a lot of people see it. But when it comes to your marketing, how can you break it down into bite-sized pieces? Well, so if you can think of a wheel, the world's best buyer persona system is the hub of the wheel. It's what allows that wheel to spin. But I break your marketing down into 8 different areas, and you can go through the exercise. There's a video that's going to walk you through, but what are the 8 areas of your marketing? The first part's awareness. Are people aware of your brand, right? If strangers, are they aware of your brand? And I have you do a self-audit of your awareness. From there, you do a self-audit of your engagement. Are people engaging with whatever you're doing to get people to engage with your brand? Then we have lead generation. You do a self-assessment of lead generation, followed by conversion optimization. And then wow, that's a tremendous opportunity that many organizations miss. And you'll have to go to the exercise to find out what wow means in greater detail. And then there's the customer ladder. What's your process for taking your customers to become clients and your best clients to become advocates and advocates to become raving fans? In your case, when I say customers, that's going to be that first-time patient. How do you get them to become clients, advocates, raving fans? And then it's reviews, what's happening there, and then referrals. So if we look at all of those 8 areas, the world's best buyer persona system allows you to have a measurable impact in all 8 areas. And then once you feel which area you can have the greatest impact in, then you only need to do 3 things. Figure out what your game plan is. Figure out what your definition of success is, your KPIs, or however you're going to measure what success is, and then what tools and tactics are you going to use. And then once you grade yourself, it's just a matter of taking yourself to the next grade. It's a free exercise on Outsmart Tools. I encourage you to do it. It takes you about 15 minutes, and it gives lots of clarity in regards to what your next step should be.
Great. Hey, thank you, Stormy, for your time. I really enjoyed it. You had some great content here.
Awesome, Don. I appreciate it. I had a blast. Thanks.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Stormy. If you guys find it beneficial, I would go look at his website. Also, if you guys want more information, I would go to my 30-day practice blueprint. Basically, the persona for that are doctors that are starting out. So I was talking to a doctor recently that is finishing residency, and he didn't know any of that stuff. So the 30-day practice blueprint is if you're starting with marketing. I would start with that. I will put a little link for the 30-day practice blueprint on one of these videos here next to me, and also a link underneath here in this YouTube. Okay, guys, have a great one.